Hello, welcome to Astronautics for Exploit. I am Dr. Anyashola Ogundele and I will be presenting Emerging New Space Companies. The overview of my presentation is as follows. Emerging Space, the Earth-to-Space segment of Emerging Space, the Space-to-Space segment of Emerging Space, the Space-to-Earth segment of Emerging Space, and classifications of Emerging Space Companies. The current wave of space entrepreneurs is being driven by the economic development drive, curiosity about space, and the need for continuous space exploration. They are highly motivated by their visions for space, and they seek revolutionary change to space exploration techniques and approaches. They foresee space exploration as the development of sustainable and diverse economic activities in space, which requires new capabilities enabled by new technologies. They are striving to make space exploration to be available at lower costs and prices. By developing new technologies, products and services, they aim to open new markets for space experiences and industrial activity. The new space companies are aiming to develop viable businesses so as to provide orbital and suborbital space tourism, habitation in space, continuous human space travel, moon and Mars exploration strategies, and a host of others. These domains were previously and solely being championed by the government alone. A promising future in space exploration is made possible as a result of both government and private investors. Emerging space. An emerging space is a space which is characterized by continuous development of disruptive space technologies that are creating or are expected to create significant social or economic effects for the benefit of humankind. This picture shows SpaceX Crew Dragon perfected by continuous development. Engineers made numerous improvements and changes since the capsule's 2014 introduction. Emerging space industry is sparked by the initiative of private entrepreneurs and is dedicated to the creation of new space markets for goods and services. Helps to continue exploration of space, expand space economy, and to sustain space exploration. Private entrepreneurs and funders are the players driving the development of new applications and approaches to the space industry. This picture shows Boeing Starliner. Most emerging space companies started small, delivering innovative products or ideas that are addressing an existing need or developing a new market niche. Some of the emerging space companies are at the research and development stages. This picture shows Blue Origin New Glenn vehicle that is being developed. The hard-to-space segment of the emerging space. This segment is the driving force in emerging space and has received tremendous amount of investment. Launch is the core of this growth. Launch service providers such as Blue Origin, SpaceX, Virgin Orbit, Rocket Lab, Relativity Space, and others are speeding up to build new rockets designed to serve diverse orbits so as to meet the market demand. This picture shows SpaceX spacecraft Crew Dragon on the launch pad ahead of the Crew 1 launch for NASA. The Earth-to-Space segment of the emerging space. Launches have been developed as a response to the growth in demand for their services, as such derived from the emerging demand from small, mini, nano satellites and constellations, as well as for lower cost launch across the mass spectrum. Existing launchers have predominantly specialized in satellites greater than 500 kg, and the cadence and prices simply cannot keep up with small payload demands nowadays. This picture shows Blue Origin suborbital vehicle. Out to space business dynamics. Small sat constellations, the standardization of production lines, and design of new smaller satellites are key drivers of this segment. Out to space activities are fueling the establishment of companies across the value chain that support small sat activities. More manufacturers, both suppliers and integrators, are emerging to build small sats, as well as complementary service providers, including launch and propulsion. This picture shows SpaceX Crew Dragon, the space-to-space segment of the emerging space. Missions to the Moon and Mars, space exploration, and missions to the Moon and Mars are picking up interest in the space-to-space segment. Many countries aiming to diversify to a tourism and knowledge-based economy, and private entrepreneurs are prioritizing space and heavily investing in this endeavor. This picture shows artist's concept of the private Asian space station in Earth orbit. Space-to-space business dynamics. Human habitats in space, the Moon and Mars, are sparking a new generation of companies aiming to find the best way to live in space. Access to water, oxygen, and food are of essence if humankind is to survive on other planets, and dedicated startups are already researching on these issues. This picture shows artist's concept of the private Asian space station in Earth orbit. Asian Space plans to attach its first module to the International Space Station. Space-to-space business dynamics. Space tourism via orbital and suborbital flights is picking up momentum with the creation of new spaceports and the design of launch systems and vehicles aiming to provide an experience quite literally out of this world. Launching and propulsion systems remain key to lower the price of suborbital travel and also orbital travel. More elaborate ideas, such as space hotels, continue to be developing and attract investments. This picture shows SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft approaching the International Space Station for the purpose of docking. The space-to-Earth segment of the emerging space. Most emerging companies in this category are dedicated to either Earth observation or communications. Their common denominator in recent times is data analytics. Investment in this segment is placing the aspiring constellation operators in a better position than its potential competitors. Digital applications and computer intelligence are key drivers of this segment. This picture shows Bigelow Aerospace B330 Space have proposed to get right on ULA Atlas. Space-to-Earth business dynamics. Low prices of imagery and bandwidth are contributing factors. As a result, applications such as off-planet monetary transactions, data encryption and storage, machine communications, remote sensing or imagery intelligence applications have picked up steam. Capacity and imaging prices are expected to continue their decline, and with digital technology as the continuing enabler of data and imaging, we can expect more capital pouring into analytics startups in some months and years to come. This picture shows Blue Origin Moonlander. Classification of emerging space companies. Emerging space companies are classified as follows: for the provision of space access, remote sensing purpose, LEO human spaceflight, beyond low Earth orbit. Classification of emerging space based on space access. These companies are making preparation or are already using their vehicles to access space. This is not an exhaustive list. There are more of them. So we have the SpaceX, we have the Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, Abreu Sciences Corporation, Strato Launch Systems, United Launch Alliance, Master Space Systems, and ESCO Aerospace. SpaceX vehicles and spacecraft are Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and Dragon. And the services are orbital launches of satellites and International Space Station cargo and orbital human spaceflight. Blue Origin vehicles are New Shepard and Baikonur spacecraft. The services are suborbital and orbital launch services, including human spaceflight. Virgin Galactic vehicles are Spaceship Two and Launcher One. The services planning to be rendered and also being rendered now are suborbital launches of small payloads, suborbital human spaceflight, and air-launched nanosatellite launches. Abreu Sciences Corporation vehicles are Pegasus, Taurus, Antares, and Cygnus, and they are offering services such as orbital launches of satellite and International Space Station cargo. The Strato Launch Systems vehicle is Strato Launcher, and the service is air-launched orbital launch services. United Launch Alliance vehicles are Atlas V and Delta IV. Orbital launch services are being provided. Master Space Systems have the vehicle Zero, Zogdo, and the services of orbital launches of small payloads, while the ESCO Aerospace has the vehicle Lynch, and the services planning to offer is suborbital launches of small payloads, suborbital human spaceflight, and nanosatellite launches. SpaceX. The goal is to reduce space transportation costs so as to enable the colonization of Mars and ultimately make humanity a spacefaring civilization. SpaceX activities are as follows. SpaceX Dragon capsule is sending resupply cargo and astronauts to the International Space Station, returning cargo and crew back to Earth. SpaceX successfully offers its vehicles in the commercial satellite launch market, and SpaceX is the first private organization in history to bring back cargo from space. This picture shows the first successful SpaceX Falcon 1 launch in September 2008. Blue Origin goals are to lower the cost of spaceflight so as to enable markets for space exploration, to make space travel cheap, frequent, and more accessible through reusable launch systems, and to establish sustained human presence on the moon. Blue Origin is developing a variety of technologies with a focus on rocket-powered vertical takeoff and vertical landing vehicles for access to suborbital and orbital space. Virgin Galactic goals are to bring space flight experiences to consumers, to provide suborbital space flights to space tourists. The company's vehicle, Spaceship Two, is designed to travel on a suborbital trajectory that provides several minutes in space at a cost ranging from $200,000 to $250,000 per passenger. Virgin plans to provide orbital services in the future. Virgin Galactic suborbital spacecraft are air-launched from beneath a carrier airplane, referred to as White Knight 2. Virgin Galactic's maiden spaceflight occurred in 2018 with its VSS Unity spaceship. This picture shows Virgin Galactic VSS Unity and White Knight 2. Abreu Sciences Corporation. The goal is to make space more accessible and useful through highly affordable small space systems that incorporate innovative designs and advanced technologies to reduce the cost of using space. The company is providing commercial resupply services to the International Space Station after developing the new launch vehicle Antares and orbital vehicle Cygnus through both the COTS and TRS programs. Abreu intends to use Antares for non-ISS commercial launches as well. This picture shows NASA's Dawn spacecraft built by Orbiter. Strato Launch Systems goals are to bring airport-like operations to the launch of commercial and government payloads and eventually human missions, and also to reduce the cost of access to space with air-launched rockets at a scale previously deemed impossible. Such launch systems is pioneering an innovative solution that will revolutionize space travel. The custom carrier will have the longest wingspan of any aircraft ever built. This picture shows renderings of Stratolaunch's massive plane and the vehicles it will carry. United Launch Alliance, a joint venture between Boeing and Lockheed Martin, manufactures Atlas V and Delta IV vehicles and only provide launch services to the government. ULA is a spacecraft launch service provider that manufactures and operates a number of rocket vehicles that are capable of launching spacecraft into orbits around Earth and to other bodies in the solar system. This picture shows ULA Delta rocket. Masting Space Systems goals are to accelerate the realization of space ecosystems on the Moon, Mars, and beyond. These ecosystems include space infrastructure and development that open the door to new commercial applications and scientific discoveries. Masting Space Systems designs and builds reusable launch vehicles intended to serve a niche for low-cost flight experiences. The company's development approach emphasizes frequent flights and rapid validation of data. This picture shows Masting Space Systems' Moon concept. Escort Aerospace is developing the new series of suborbital vehicles to transport customers and payloads past the threshold of space. The lane was planned to be capable of carrying a pilot and a passenger or payload on suborbital spaceflights over 100 kilometers. This picture shows Lane's suborbital spaceplane. Emerging space companies remote sensing. The companies are Planet Labs and Skybus Imaging. Planet Labs vehicles are Dove and Flock 1, and they offer services of frequent imaging of the Earth and open access to acquire data via a website. Skybus Imaging vehicle is SkySat, and they offer service of frequent imaging and HD video of the Earth, data analysis, and open access to acquire data via website. Planet Labs' goals are to image the entirety of the Earth every day and make change visible, accessible, and actionable, and also to monitor changes and pinpoint trends. The company designs and manufactures triple CubeSat miniature satellites, referred to as DOVEs, that are then delivered into orbit as secondary payloads on other rocket launch missions. Each DOVE is equipped with a high-powered telescope and camera programmed to capture different swaths of Earth. Each DOVE Earth observation satellite continuously scans Earth, sending data once it passes over a ground station by means of a frame image sensor. This picture shows first pair of the 28 Planet Labs satellites launched from the ISS via the NanoRAS CubeSat deployer. Skybus Imaging goal is to use computers to analyze huge amounts of imagery data that can be turned into useful near real-time products, including video for customers. Skybus Imaging is designing and building its own fleet of small satellites, each weighing about 100 kilograms. The company has raised more than $91 million, and its first satellite, SkySat 1, was launched in 2013 aboard a Russian vehicle. In 2014, it signed a launch contract with Orbital Sciences Corp to launch its satellites. Planet acquired the SkySat satellites with their purchase of Terabella, formerly known as Skybus Imaging. This picture shows SkySat image of Apple Park taken in May 2017. Classification based on low Earth orbit human space flight. So we have the companies Bigelow Aerospace, Boeing, Sierra Nevada Corporation, and space adventures. Bigelow Aerospace vehicle is BA330 and the service is inflatable habitat for use in orbit or on the moon. Boeing vehicle is CST-100 and the service is crewed low Earth orbit transportation. Sierra Nevada Corporation vehicle is Dream Chaser and the service is crewed LEO transportation. And Space Adventures vehicle is Soyuz and the service is crewed LEO and lunar expeditions. Bigelow Aerospace goal is to provide affordable options for people to live and work in space. Using an orbital platform is developed based on NASA's inflatable transit habitation technology. Bigelow announced that for $26 to $36 million, clients will be able to spend up to 60 days on the Bigelow Alpha Station, composed of BA330 models. Prior to the launch of BA330 models, Bigelow Aerospace planned to test an inflatable platform on the International Space Station. This picture shows artist illustration depicting a Boeing CST-100 spacecraft approaching a private inflatable space station complex designed by Bigelow Aerospace. Boeing CST-100 Starliner, a crew capsule, is a class of two partially reusable spacecraft expected to transport crew to the International Space Station and other low Earth orbit destinations. The development is in collaboration with Bigelow Aerospace. Boeing has invested corporate resources in the vehicle, which it is also developing through several commercial-style NASA programs. The capsule will address markets for International Space Station transportation and beyond. This picture shows Starliner Calypso being placed on top of Atlas V. Sierra Nevada Corporation is building the Dream Chaser, an orbital vehicle designed to carry 7 people and spend months at a time in orbit. The company plans to make the Dream Chaser inexpensive to manufacture and able to land at most airports. The vehicle is a lifting body, originally based on a NASA design, and has been built with support from NASA and internal SNNC investment. This picture shows Sierra Nevada's Dream Chaser. Space Adventure Vision is to open up the space frontier to private citizens and provide access to space resources. Since 2001, the company has flown 8 missions to the ISS and remains the only company to contract with private citizens for spaceflight. Space Adventures offers lunar flyby missions. In April 2001, the company sent American businessman Dennis Tito for a reported $20 million payment, making him the first space tourist. This picture shows Dennis Tito and his crewmates on board the ISS. Beyond the LEO, we have the company's B612 Foundation with Vehicle Sentinel, and the services of detection and characterization of potentially hazardous asteroids. Inspiration Mars Foundation Company has the vehicle Inspiration Mars, and to provide the service Crude Mars Flyby Expedition. Moon Express has the vehicle Moon Express for the service of prospecting and mining lunar resources. Planetary Resources has the vehicle Arcade 100, Arcade 200, and Arcade 300, and the service is for prospecting and mining asteroid resources. B612 Foundation is a non-profit organization that intends to discover and catalog asteroids in the Earth's region of the solar system by launching infrared telescopes estimated to cost about $450 million into a Venus-like orbit around the Sun. The mission will result in the first comprehensive dynamic map of the inner solar system to protect the Earth against asteroid strikes. This picture shows a depiction of the Sentinel Space Telescope, planned to be built by Ball Aerospace. Inspiration Mars Foundation is a non-profit organization that advocates for a low-cost human Mars flyby mission. Dennis Tito, the first private astronaut, has stated that he is willing to spend on the venture. The greater goals of the organization are to generate knowledge, experience, and momentum for the next great era of space exploration. This picture shows artist's concept of Inspiration Mars capsule and app. Moon Express is planning to redefine returning to the moon and unlocking its mysteries and resources for the benefit of humanity. Moon Express' long-term goal is to enable commercial mining on the moon. The company received funding from former NASA employee and entrepreneur Barney Pearl and competed for Google Lunar X Prize. This picture shows MS-2 Scud class explorer, a spectacularly capable dual-stage robotic explorer with enough punch to reach Venus or the moons of Mars from low Earth orbit. Planetary Resources' goal is to develop and deploy the technologies for asteroid mining. In 2012, Planetary Resources announced plans to mine a near-Earth asteroid for raw materials. Supported by billionaires like Google's Larry Page and Eric Schmidt, the company is beginning by developing a network of orbital telescopes to prospect for potentially valuable near-Earth asteroids. This picture shows asteroid mining concept. For more information, contact Astronautics for Exploits. You've been watching Emerging New Space Companies. Thank you.